Hello, Green Spring. Today is Tuesday, May 23rd, 2017. I'm Fran Duval, your host for today. And it's always my pleasure to welcome Lynn Keefe, our Director of General Services. Hello.
Hello, good to be here today.
And we're both in blue. We must have. I thought I could put away all these things, but
well, that's the weather in this area.
There you go.
What do they say?
Every
if you don't,
year it's something.
That's right. You don't like it today, don't worry, it'll be different tomorrow.
Well, Lynn, how is General Services health?
Well, I think that we are healthy. We are certainly busy and much going on. I think that is always our theme. So I thought I'd share today a little bit about what's going on across the campus.
Okay. Let's hear it.
So I think probably one of the topics we hear a great deal about is windows and doors. So they've pretty much wrapped up that work in Neighborhood 1 for windows. Now I've heard folks say, okay, well, when am I going to get my door? So the plan at this point, we don't have a schedule from the vendor yet as to when to expect windows and doors. They will begin in mid-June, we anticipate, in Neighborhood 2. Okay. And they'll either do just windows or windows and doors. If the doors are here.
Getting new doors?
Yes.
The whole campus?
Yes. Balcony or they're either the sliding glass door or some
you mean
people.
The doors for the balconies.
Yes.
I thought you meant the front there.
No.
Because I know Neighborhood 1.
Only Neighborhood 1 got the entry door.
Entry door, yeah.
These are the glass doors. So the plan is they'll start Neighborhood 2 in mid-June, then they will pause. And for July, they'll go back to Neighborhood 1, and during the month of July, replace all of those doors, sliding glass door, patio swing doors that did not get done because those weren't in. And then they'll go back and resume in Neighborhood 2, the goal being that they only have to go in one time. They do all of the windows and a sliding glass door at the same time.
Okay.
So we'll have more detail as soon as we get information from the vendor about the dates. But that project is going well. We're glad to hear that. We appreciate the feedback, and folks are very satisfied with the quality of the window, and we're always glad to hear that.
To use a smidgen of your time here with us, the Green Spring Players just did a play called High Window, and it was the second play in our 2-play series. And in 15 minutes, the crew put in a window, you know, in the intermission. And it was a joke at the party. Someone said, gee, you know, it takes them a long time to put these windows in. They ought to get Lou Jones, who did our window. You know, of course, it was a prop window, but anyway, we
might be able to use him. We'll be in touch. So, you know, now that we're entering summer, I'm not sure, I feel like spring has been here with the temperatures, but it's that time of year. Everything's blooming, the campus looks beautiful. Much work to be done. Please know there will be some new plantings coming. We're looking at that. We have some areas that need to be tidied up a bit, some area of grass that needs to be replanted and so forth. So we will be addressing that. But I also, as a reminder to residents that while we love the wildlife in and around campus, we don't want to bring them too close in. And by that I mean no bird feeders, no bird baths. Even if you don't have those, don't sprinkle bread on the ground, because while it's intended for your fine feathered friends, it does draw in other rodents and snakes, and so we just don't want that. And we address them as we see them, but please recall that information and share with your friends and neighbors. Also, you know, some of the other work that's going on around campus, we just started yesterday on the final phase of repair work to the employee parking deck. So we did literally half that deck at the end of 2016 and displaced a lot of our employees, and we parked over at Who's Road for an extended period. This is not that significant right now. It displaces about 60 vehicles, and so many of us are parking on the street and walking in, and we expect this project to take about 6 to 8 weeks. But so if you see a little bit of an adjustment, maybe see more cars out there, that is why. It does not impact residents, but we are asking employees cooperation in managing through this repair work. It's also a good reminder, as we always remind our employees, the speed limit in the parking deck is 5. And if you actually pay attention and watch your speedometer, 5 is pretty slow, but we need to do that in and around campus and the resident decks as well. And just remember that speed limit on campus and to proceed with caution. And that's if we're walking, if we're driving, if we're in a mobility device, when we round corners, just safety.
Sure.
Everybody's in a hurry, right? But we want to make sure that we keep everyone safe. So I also, one of our unplanned activities last week, we had an emergency water shutoff in Canterbury Square. And while folks who live other places may not have been aware, we identified an issue, and because of the location of the issue, it required a full building shutdown. We did call residents, and we gave them about 12 to 18 hours notice, and we don't like to give short notice, but it did give folks time to prepare, and we're pleased that the repair took much less time. We used the robocall, the voice shot to the residents to let them know. But it's a good reminder when we have those situations. We told residents, you know, you can put some water in your bathtub if you need to flush your toilet during that time. Folks seemed very appreciative of that. So we, as always, appreciate folks' patience as we work through. So one of the things I've heard in the last couple weeks is I talk with residents, you know, some feedback. Why didn't you fix? And I want to make sure that when folks identify something that needs repair, that you communicate it so that we know about it.
Sure.
Sometimes it takes us a little bit longer depending on what it is. There's actually a door that needs to be replaced that doesn't have a locking mechanism that functions as it should over in Jackson Court, Hampton Place area. So please know that's on our radar. Don't ever hesitate to call and ask us.
Yeah, sometimes we assume somebody else has already reported it.
Right, and I say that I'd rather hear it several times than not at all. But there is a process for creating a work order, and you can call the front desk, you can call General Services, they'll initiate that. We also have comment cards. And I just want to make sure that folks don't use one for the other. The comment card is great if you want to share just that, comment on an observation. But if it's something that needs immediate work, create a work order. Right. There are also some things that are just a call out, if it's a temperature adjustment or light or heating, cooling. But that's important to remember. We want to make sure we do get things addressed. And with that, I will also just give a little heads up. We are going to be getting a new system that creates and manages our work orders. Our current system is called GSMS, and it's going to be replaced by something called ServiceMax. The names don't really matter, but it will have a great deal of improvements as to how we manage all of the information and how we coordinate the work. In doing that, like with all systems, it might be a little bumpy at first, but we also will have a day in mid-June where we close the system and do a training day. So we'll talk more about that as we get closer, but we will see some improvements to that system. We were chatting before we started about the second elevator in Village Square, and I know folks have said, when is that going to happen? And while there was a great deal of discussion and change over the years with our change in leadership, that project is on track, and we are waiting for that to go to permitting, and then we'll get a schedule back. So we're still, our goal is to have it completed by year's end, and At this point, I don't have more timeline detail, but as soon as we get that from our vendor, we will certainly share that. I know folks are eager to have that second elevator, and I think that it will be a great improvement. One of the other additions to our department, we have our project manager in place, our second project manager. We had Justin Dennis, who had been here for quite some time, and he left in December to go work at another community, Erickson community, that is much closer to where he lived. And so we've been searching, and now we have Jason Mitchell, who has joined us, and he's now on week 3. So you will see him around campus, and he's working closely with Brenda Kuhn. So
With Brenda, okay.
yes, so we're back at capacity, and we certainly have plenty to keep both of them
Absolutely.
busy. Yes.
Yeah, because you have apartment renovations and all that business.
Right.
The
Right.
refurbs and everything.
Yes, so much going on, much change. That's our constant. So we continue to communicate. But as folks have questions, please don't hesitate to call and ask.
You know, a few years ago, or I don't know, maybe it was even last year. I can't keep track of time. I don't know if anybody else can. But you did do a power wash of the balconies. Like, I'm on the top floor. And along the edge, you know, for about a foot and a half or so, there's just this black. And I think it's coming off the roof, you know, from, who knows, diesel fuel from the planes or whatever. But any effort to get those power washed
So
at any time?
it's not on our plan for this year. There are a number of areas that we
Okay.
will be addressing, and some of the roof repairs, new roofs, and new gutters in certain areas have fixed some of the issues that have caused some of that dark staining. So we will begin to address that methodically, and we anticipate that being done next spring.
Okay.
For folks who might need something specific, we can certainly address that.
Yeah.
But we will be implementing that with so many other things.
Yeah,
so
I
that-
don't know how often you do it, but I noticed, and I thought, is there no gutter up there to take that water off somewhere else?
The new gutters have made an improvement, and now we're seeing, you know, what caused it, because we're not seeing it continue to deteriorate.
okay.
So we do an annual campus-wide assessment of all building exteriors as well as interiors, and that drives our plan for the coming year. So
Right.
now that we've addressed the repair issues, we don't want to clean it, fix it if it's going to continue.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
we'll incorporate that, and then we'll begin communicating, you know, what to look for coming up.
Okay. Sounds like the effort you're making to keep us living comfortably and cleanly. And honestly, when you talk about having to shut the water down and all that business, you know, I brag to my kids about, oh, no, I don't have to wait. You know, if I have a leak, if something happens, you know, and I have to get something replaced in the bathroom, I just make a phone call. And, you know, sometimes if it's water connected, it often is right away, because I only have the one bathroom. But,
Yes, yes.
But, you know, that kind of service, and I would say it goes back to when you started here in this job. The service department is just top notch.
Well, you know, it really is a team effort. I thank you for that, but it is an effort on everyone in our team. And they really are passionate about what they do, and they want to do the right thing. We continue to refine the system. Doesn't mean we're perfect, and we make mistakes, and we want to hear, I say, the good, the bad, the ugly. But it is our goal. We want you to have carefree living. I wish I could get that service at my home, but
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if your water had to be shut off for some major repair, if you were in your own home, you'd be waiting a while.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that's a good reminder, too. You know, there are things, as I mentioned, there are some things that we create a work order, maybe we have to order a part and we come back, but there
Sure.
are other things that we take care of right away. Certainly water is one where we
Yeah.
come running quite literally sometimes,
Right.
but also heating, cooling, things
Sure,
like that,
sure.
that, you know, we do have maintenance here after hours and on call, so we want to address those, so don't
Well,
hesitate to
on
call.
behalf of the residents, I thank you and your department. I think they do a terrific
Well,
job.
thank you. We're pleased to partner with you.
Okay, thank you, Lynn, very much for coming.
Thank you for having me today.
Okay.